why it is he's saying Jesus is who he is, and so on.
Jeff was saying it might reflect on Jesus' life and death. Maybe the 12 patriarchs there are the 12 apostles. Is that kind of, I don't know, I never thought of it. So you said that. It's a reflection, this verse is a reflection maybe of Jesus' what he went to.
It's the foundation.
12 apostles.
Yeah, it's a foundation with the 12 patriarchs, the 12 tribes. Yeah, it's not the last time that we'll see this number 12. All right, question number 1.
What did God tell Abraham concerning Ishmael? Genesis 17, 18 through 20. And Abraham said unto God, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. So, similarly, as God blessed Isaac with 12, I guess, Ishmael's going to have 12 princes. Or no, Isaac only had 2 kids. Jacob had 12.
Right. So we have Abraham and Sarah. Who's Ishmael?
His son.
His first illegitimate son.
His first illegitimate son.
Not the covenant son.
Yeah. The son of the maid.
All right.
The one that Sarah
The scholarly maid.
But obviously Abraham was concerned about him, right?
Bless him, and he's still a son.
Yes.
And it's his firstborn son. It's not with Sarah. But it's his firstborn son. He would not love a son any less.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like Gina said, it's still his kid. Even though,
And they wanted a child so bad, they didn't have children for so long. I mean, and he even did it with Sarah's blessing. It wasn't like he went behind her back and had this affair and had a kid.
he hearkened unto his wife,
Yeah,
he had to do it.
Yep. Okay.
well, thanks for calling him out. Number 2.
Just checking in with him. All right, so a promise was made to Abraham concerning Ishmael. Number 2.
Did this promise come to pass? Genesis 25, 12 through 18. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's sons, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth and Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, and Mishma, and Jumah with Manasseh, Kedar, and Zema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedar. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. So, yes, prophecy.
Did you count those as you were reading them? Did anybody count those as Morgan was reading them?
Wow.
Maya, did you count them?
No.
You want us to?
There's 13.
The study's on the number 12, so we're trying to verify this.
Oh, firstborn of Ishmael. There's only 12.
Well,
Okay.
12.
Nebojath, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Masa, Hadar, Tima, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedema. Okay, Kedema. Okay, so 12.
It's almost like equal. Ishmael was blessed with 12 sons, and so that Jacob was blessed with 12 sons that all inherited
Mm-hmm.
good things.
I don't think Ishmael's sons followed the way his father.
Yeah.
They went straight, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do believe that they're sons of Abraham.
Yeah.
That's their lineage. That's the whole split right there.
So what do we think, is there any significance to this common 12 kind of thing here?
Not random, I'm sure.
There's balance,
God's direction.
perfect balance.
Balance, okay. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Nope.
I wonder how big their nations were, because it says here by their towns, their castles, and their nations. So those guys must have been really rich.
They were definitely established. And Sherry, earlier you were saying a split. What do you mean by a split?
Well, because that's the whole Muslim side. I've had several people that were in prison that they present Christianity and they present Muslim, and they say how strikingly similar they are, and it's hard to like discern which one is the right path.
The source of disagreement and debate and wars and missiles and everything else as far as the whose land is this really, and then we get further down into the Jacob and Esau situation, and again further covenant issues and lineages and ancestries, and who really does it all flow through. But as we study the Word and the Scriptures, we understand that flows from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, and then the 12 patriarchs, the 12 tribes, and that's the lineage then that God reveals, I guess I would say, and communicates His law and His expectations. It's also the lineage where the Messiah, Jesus, would come from. Question 3.
What did Israel experience at Marah? Exodus 15, 22 through 25. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. Therefore he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. I don't see 12 there.
No, we'll get it in the next question. which is a follow-up to that one. What was their experience here?
They're thirsty.
They're thirsty, but they have water right before them, right?
Nasty water.
Nasty water. Water that they can't consume. Describes it as being bitter water. So,
Found a ditch or something.
and
I had water that stinks so bad you can't drink.
When she lived out in Floresville, they had to dig a well for her in her land so she can get water, and they had to dig real deep, and they made a well. But when we go over, man, it smelled like eggs. You could smell it was bad. She goes, oh, you can still take a shower if you want. And I was like, I'll be all right. But, I mean, she used it to, I don't know, to do other things, but she didn't use it to drink. She used it for other stuff. She had
It
other,
don't make you sick, it just stinks awful.
yeah, she still had to treat it though.
yeah. And if you use that water in cooking your food, guess what?
Eggs.
Tastes bad too.
Nice flavor.
Make a lot of Chinese.
We had a home in New York up on a hill, and we had the best water. Anytime my dad came to visit, he said, I never had such clean, refreshing water. But it was a deep well, but it was up also on a hill, so you didn't have impurities flowing into it. It was clean, pristine water. It was, I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss that good water.
Well, what they found here in Marah was the opposite, right?
We found that non-potable water.
Non-potable, yeah. And what did they do in verse 24?
Murmur.
They murmured against Moses. What shall we drink? So Moses does the only thing he can do. He goes to the Lord. The Lord said, throw that tree in the water. So he threw the tree in the water, and that's all it took. So what did they experience? They experienced a trying time. They experienced murmuring and complaining and whining. And then they experienced a miracle with this tree made the water drinkable.
I wonder how that worked, because when you put something in the water, you can see like the water would change color, you know, because of the dirt and grime on the tree or whatever it is. And then it would maybe counteract it, whatever stuff is from the tree, counteract it with the water.
I think the tree was probably just God's way of saying, do something, and then I'm going to take care of the water, right? I'll fix it.
It's probably like foreshadowing to the cross and the tree that, you know, it's the clean water, it's you
Saved,
can partake of it and it'll make you, well,
refreshing water,
yeah, makes it sweet.
life-giving water.
The reason I'm saying is like, from my fish tank, they have this thing where the placos can eat a piece of wood. But when I put the piece of wood in there, it made the whole water murky, and it just like changed the color, and it wouldn't even clear up. I looked it up and it said, oh, it should clear up in a couple of days. It did not clear up in a couple of days. It went for like a whole week with it just being murky, and the poor fish is like gasping for air. So I had to like take out the piece of wood, and then the water was clearing up through the filter. But it was just like so bad. I was like, well then, if they put a tree in the water, does it make it murky, or does it like counteract? Because for me, with the piece of wood with the Legos, it was the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
How big was that piece of wood?
Yeah, so the gallon it's a 10-gallon tank, and the piece of wood is like, it's long, and it could fit in like a diagonal.
Yeah.
Small piece.
Even if you put the small piece, it still would make it murky too. So that's why I was like curious, like they put the tree in the water.
I almost see it as like the tree is like a big tea bag, right? That's in the water, and whatever the murkiness is that comes off of it, fixes the water.
I see it as a filter that clears out the impurities.
Oh, it absorbed.
Yeah, it'll absorb the impurities from the water.
Of course, the point here is not that the wood affected it at all. Point was, if you'll do this, God will cleanse the water for you. So they had to have the faith that, okay, we'll throw the tree in there.
Right.
If they'd said, throw a rock in there instead,
Right.
wouldn't have worked.
No tree's going to fix that water. Let's go.
Right?
All right. Okay, let's get to question 4 then.
After Marah, what did they find? Exodus 15:27. And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water and 310 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. They found 12 wells of water and 10 palm trees, and they camped there.
3score and 10, it means 60 plus 10. So it'd be 70 total. That's what 3score means, the language. Score is 20. 3 times 20, 60 plus 10 makes the 70. We never hear the word score anymore.
What's the point of what?
Why didn't they just say 70?
That's the way they talk.
Why say fortnight?
That's why
I use
Shakespeare.
that one.
Just different words.
Back when Abraham Lincoln gave his speech, he used those words.
4score and
10 years ago.
so they
It's not.
come out of this area, and they come to this, or they come out as they cross over here, and then they find themselves 3 days, no water, and then this miracle with the tree being thrown in and converting it from bitter to sweet, and they're able to drink it. And then as they go on a little further, they come to this area, Elim, where there's 12 wells and these 70 palm trees. So we've got 12 wells, one symbolically, one for each of the 12 tribes, 12 patriarchs.
I've wondered before how big an area this was. Because we got, 600,000 people here. So this has got to be spread out over several miles to accommodate that many people.
Yeah, in my mind's eye, I always see this little oasis area,
Yeah,
right?
me
It's got
too.
one tree over there, right? And it's like all in this one. But yeah, to your point, this probably was a fairly large area, maybe a little spread out with these 12 wells and 70 palm trees. The lesson that we have in a couple of weeks, December 10th, happens to be on 70. But just like the 12 patriarchs, and the 12 tribes, and the 12 wells, we'll go on today to look at additional items related to 12. We'll see that the 70 is also a theme that recurs.
I already looked ahead. What's the comparison with the 70? And we do go back to this. There were 70 souls of Jacob that were saved. Jacob's family went to live with Joseph in Egypt. His family was 70. I don't know if that's God.
Oh, yes, it's significant. Yeah.
But the 70 palm trees is the 70 palm trees that had
Right.
anything to do with the 70 souls that came out.
For sure.
Always take this one to say, like he provided 12 and 70 for their physical care here. Then after Jesus, he provided 12 and 70 for our spiritual care.
All right, question number 6.
Of what
Oh,
did-
sorry. I think I skipped one, right? Yeah. Yeah, number 5. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Of what did Moses remind the people? Exodus 15:26. Backtrack a little bit. And said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. So, Moses reminded the people, if you just follow God's law, none of these evil things will fall upon you.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's too simple. We gotta do it our way. So yeah, his reminder was, if you diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord. When you do something diligently, what does that imply? What does that mean?
Constantly, earnestly, intentionally.
Motivated.
Motivated, purposeful, intentional, legitimately. So it's just not it's not a casual listening. It's not I'm on my phone and I'm hearing you say things, but I'm not really paying attention. I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm diligently hearkening. I'm taking action on what you're saying. And then he follows that up and say, and will do that which is right in his sight. You know, we've talked about many times how it's not knowing the will of God. It's not knowing the law of God. It's not knowing what's expected. It's not knowing the truth. It's what?
Doing it.
It's doing it. If we'll do that which is right in his sight, and we'll give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, then all these things will go well for you. All right, number 6.
What did the Israelites do when they crossed over the Jordan River in Joshua 3, verses 11 and 17? Behold, the ark of the even the salt sea failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry grounds in the midst of Jordan. And all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan. Well, number 12 lived there. 12 men went down, but it was when the priest hit the water that it went back and everything dried up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they must have a lot of rain that time of year when they crossed over. Because at that time of harvest, the water overflowed the banks always. So it was shallow. It would be shallow when they first got in it, and then it dried up. And if you walked in the center of the river, there was no water at all.
think it's interesting how in verse 17, it says, until all the people were passed clean over.
It's quite a far distance too, verse 16, but far up the water stopped, and far down the river stopped. It wasn't just a little bit of water across.
Pretty wide.
It wasn't like 2 or 3 people in a trail, there was thousands of people crossed over.
On dry ground though.
No.
On dry ground, it's not like the muddy, part of the water,
Right.
it's dry.
Mhm.
So all every, I guess, drop.
That's why I pointed out that clean over, right? It's like, yeah, they didn't, they didn't get stuck in the mud and everybody come out on the other side all muddy. They would have been complaining and murmuring, right?
But by Jericho, the River Jordan might have been wider there. So that the semblance is that they crossed over right where they wanted to go into Jericho. It didn't matter, they didn't have to go up higher where the stream might be narrower, down lower. They just right there, right into Jericho.
So when I read this, I was thinking, like, who are these 12 that they chose out of every tribe? Are they just random guys, or is it like it says in 13, there will be, I guess, 12 priests holding the ark?
Well, the priests all come from the Levite tribe of Levi. So yeah, I think this was a representative of each of the 12. Out of every tribe, a man. So one representative for each one.
Next question says why is rough.
Okay.
Next
I was
question
wondering, like,
answers
who are
that.
these guys?
Number 7.
How did they memorialize this event? Joshua 4:1-3. And it came to pass when all the people were clean passed over, the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, take you 12 men out of every, a man out of every, excuse me, my glasses, let me get my glasses here. Take 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe of man, and command ye them, saying, take your hands out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and you shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place where you shall lodge this night. Then 5-8. And Joshua said unto them, pass over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take you up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. That this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what mean ye by these stones? Then you shall answer them that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord when it passed over Jordan. The waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as the Lord spake unto Joshua, according to the number of tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto a place where they lodged, and laid them down there. So how did they memorialize this? Took 12 stones out of the river at the place where the priests were standing, and took them with them.
And why did they do this?
So it would be a memorial. It's something they could use to testify to their kids even what had happened at that day and time.
We did read 18-20, didn't we? Joshua?
Up into dry land, that the waters of Jordan returned to their place and flowed over all the banks as they did before. And the people come up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and encamped in Gilgal in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch at Gilgal. So they didn't put the stones right there when they first come out of the river. They actually took them with them.
What kind of a stone would have you gotten?
Mine wouldn't be very big.
Just one,
Carry.
just one you put in your pocket, right?
These are, to remember, they gotta be huge. They had to pick strong men.
Well, if they put them on the shoulder, they're like, he got a big rock. Well, we're the better of the tribe, so we're gonna get a bigger rock than he's got.
You work smarter, not harder, to get the lightest rock.
Marlena would have had one that big, and
I got mine, I had to carry this
Stick
one.
yours in your pocket instead of on your shoulder.
Easier to carry, right? I can put it right there on my shoulder too, look.
But I visualize that he selected strong men to run the representation tribe.
right?
I mean, they want these to last, a memorial. You can't have a little pebble get blown away or covered up by dust. It's gotta be a big enough rock to last.
Every man of you a stone upon his shoulder.
Take care of it.
It'd be interesting, not that it did happen, but it would be interesting. Like, you know, how the ephod, you know, it lit up, you know, like which ones were supposed to go to war. It would be interesting if 12 stones lit up in that area and they picked up the ones that were theirs.
And if they all had very similar characteristics and similar sizes and similar, who knows? And now we're moving into the area of speculation, but clearly these 12 were to be set up and to be there and to be obvious, right? So that when people walk by, they would be like, what's that all about? Oh, that's the time that this river was dried up and everybody came across. And what? Yeah, this river was completely dry and everybody came across from it. And you know, the priests came down and had the Ark of had the covenant with them, and this is what happened. What?
I think it's cool because, you know, Moses did it and now Joshua is. You know, so it's like, it's also symbolic of, like, you know, the first time that Israel knew him and now the second time they're gonna know him. It's like, it's gonna be a difference.
Right. It's like a confirmation. Yeah, that's good. All right. Number 8.
What do we learn about the breastplate for the high priest? Exodus 28:13 through 21 and 29:30. 28, 25. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work, after the work of the ephod. Thou shalt make it of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and fine twined linen. Thou shalt make it. Foursquare it shall be doubled, a span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof. And thou shalt set it in the settings of stones, even 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a sardius, a topaz, a carbuncle. This shall be the first row. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold in their enclosures. And the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of the signet. Every one with his name shall they be according to the 12 tribes. And then 29 and 30. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart when he goeth in unto the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goeth in before the Lord, and Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before the Lord continually.
So, what's the deal with the breastplate of the high priest?
It's worn over the heart of the person giving judgment.
Worn over the heart of the high priest.
Unique stones, everyone's different, represents a tribe.
Each of the tribes has a stone, a precious stone, I would say, right? These are typically items that have value. There'll be 4 rows of 3. Worn upon the heart. And then in verse 29, when it talks about, going into the holy place, going into the Holy of Holies, happened how many times a year? Going to the Holy of Holies once a year. The holy place, they would go frequently, but in the Holy of Holies, just once a year. He's gonna. What do you see this, representing? Nothing? What's that, Morgan?
What were you saying? What were you talking about?
The breastplate with the 12 stones in it.
And each stone is named after 12 tribes. 12 names.
Shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel forever.
So the priest is there, as the spiritual representative of the 12 tribes. Every single tribe is carrying them upon his heart, basically.
That means whatever judgment comes out of his mouth is certified by the 12 tribes. He's got the seal.
What's verse 30? What is that about?
Well, the Urim and Thummim was 2 different stones that they would consult the Lord. Line up Urim if you want us to do this thing. Line up Thummim if you want us to go the other direction. And the Lord would show those in a bright light, and they'd know what direction God was trying to lead them. I've often thought it'd be good if I had that sometimes now.
Yeah.
And I would know a little better what to teach, what to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Urim
Lights
and
of judgment is what they're really called.
what's that?
The lights of judgment. Because he could give a judgment, give a direction. Or
Yeah, it's very interesting that the word Urim in Hebrew means lights, and the word Thummim in Hebrew means perfections. So it's like it's this light, this guidance, this direction that's, from the Lord is perfect. All right, number 9.
With what did Elijah build the altar when he challenged the prophets of Baal? 1 Kings 18:25-31. And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, Choose one bullock for yourselves and dress it first, for ye are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awakened. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets until the blood gushed upon them. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. And Elijah said unto all the people, Come near to me. And all the people came unto him. And he prepared the altar of the Lord, and that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name.
Go ahead to verse 32.
And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed.
Okay. So what did he build the altar with?
12 stones.
12 stones. And here he says, verse 31, it says that these 12 stones represent the number of the tribes of the son of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name.
I wonder if he was teaching them as he's saying that.
Giving them a lesson.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we know the rest of the story, how once he had it built, and had him dig a trench around it and puts wood on it, then he has him pour water all over it. Once, twice, 3 times, and then the water fills the trench that was built around it, and then he calls upon the Lord, and his fire comes down, and it was as dry as the Jordan River when they passed over it.
You're jumping ahead, too.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead. Number 10.
What was the result of the challenge? 1 Kings 18:32-40. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench about the altar as great as wood contained 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, Fill 4 barrels with water and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, Do it the third time. And they did it the third time. And the water ran about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifices that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, The Lord, he is the God. The Lord, he is the God. And Elijah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, and let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there.
Yep, so I got ahead, Jeff.
What's up?
I said I got ahead.
Yeah, a little bit.
The result of the challenge.
Prophets of Baal were slain. And God accepted the offerings Jacob made.
And the people, what are the people? What was the reaction of the people that saw this?
They declared which was the right God.
Mm-hmm. The Lord, He is the God. The Lord, He is the God. You know, verse 39. It's interesting, verse 38. These 12 stones, what happened to them?
They were consumed by the fire.
Consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. So it was all vaporized. And it was impressive. I mean, the people were like this. They fell on their faces, it said. They were highly impressed. Any other thoughts or comments on this challenge?
I was just thinking that he, in his challenge, there were several of the other priests. And then here you hear one man of God can do what all of these others could not do.
All right. Yeah, to that point in verse 22. Verse 22 it says, even I only remain a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men.
Yeah.
So it's 450 versus 1. And he told him, you go first. Number 11.
Who did Jesus call to help him with his ministry? Matthew 10:1-6. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So now we fast forward from the time of Jacob and time of Israel coming out of Egypt and the 12 tribes and Elijah and his representation of that. And now we fast forward here to the time of Jesus. And as he was going about his ministry, preaching, teaching, healing, doing all these miracles, he has these 12 disciples, these 12 apostles that he sends out. They've been observing him, they've been watching him, they've been understanding his approach and what he's been doing and everything, and then he sends them out, and specifically to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and to teach. Verse 7 was outside the scope of the question, but to preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is hand, and heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils, freely have received, freely give. So he has these 12. So we see this theme of 12, starting back in the time of the promise of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, 12 tribes, and we see this 12 here come in, that it's going to be the nucleus of the future church, the nucleus of how his church was going to be structured and built and governed. Any other thoughts on 12? What's that?
The New Jerusalem,
What about the New Jerusalem?
the 12 gates and the 12 foundations are according to the 12.
Very good.
sons and the 12
Yep, we see that number 12 repeated there. That's very good. Yep. Any other final thoughts? All right, we'll take a break for 15 or 20 minutes or so, and then we'll be back for the second part of our service today. We have any online comments or anything that we have received there, Sister Miriam?
Sister Susan just says good morning, church family, and happy Sabbath. Leticia also says good morning and blessed happy Sabbath, everyone. Joining from Washington State. And we have Leonard Chanuga. He says, good morning to you there. We are happy our Sabbath day to be here in Malawi, and good to hear our Apostle Jerry and his comments. God bless.
So we've got online representation from that we know of, Washington State and Malawi, Africa. That's very good. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much.